Why? Your words are your biggest security risk. Every time you speak, you're handing out access codes to your life. Think about it. Each conversation, every social media caption, all those overshared moments. You're basically leaving your front door unlocked and posting the address online. The uncomfortable truth nobody talks about. We've been programmed to believe that sharing everything equals authenticity. That vulnerability means spilling your entire playbook to anyone who asks. But here's what actually happens when you operate like that. You become predictable, exploitable, easy to read, and easier to manipulate. Strategic silence isn't about being cold or antisocial. It's about understanding that information asymmetry is the foundation of every power dynamic that exists. When someone knows everything about you and you know nothing about them, who has the advantage? It's not even close. Research from Carnegie Mellon's Scilab found that individuals who maintain lower digital footprints experience significantly fewer targeted social engineering attacks. The correlation is direct and undeniable. Less information out there equals fewer attack vectors. It's cybersecurity 101, except we're talking about your entire life, not just your passwords. Look at how the most powerful people operate. CEOs, intelligence operatives, master negotiators. They all share one trait. They reveal strategically, not compulsively. They understand that every piece of information has value, and giving it away freely is just bad business. Your thoughts, your plans, your fears, your next moves. These aren't casual conversation topics. They're strategic assets. And right now, you're probably treating them like they're worthless, scattering them across every platform and conversation without a second thought. The reality check hits different when you realize this. People are always collecting data on you, not just algorithms and corporations. Your coworkers, your friends, your family. Everyone's running their own intelligence operation. Whether they realize it or not, they're filing away your patterns, your triggers, your weaknesses, and they'll use that information when it benefits them. Silence is defense. It's the firewall between who you are and who people think you are. It's the gap that keeps you safe, unpredictable, and 3 steps ahead of everyone trying to figure you out. Reflect. When did oversharing last backfire on you? Drop it in the comments. If this perspective shift hit different, smash that like button and subscribe. How silence became the ultimate competitive edge. Let's talk about leverage. Real leverage. Not the fake kind people post about on LinkedIn. I'm talking about the kind of advantage that actually moves the needle in your life. Every successful person you admire has mastered one skill above all others. They know when to shut up. They understand that in a world drowning in noise, silence is magnetic. It creates space. It builds intrigue. It makes people lean in instead of tune out. There's a fascinating study from Harvard Business School analyzing communication patterns in high-stakes negotiations. They tracked thousands of deals and found something remarkable. The party that spoke less closed better terms 67% of the time. Why? Because while everyone else was talking, they were listening, calculating, identifying leverage points that the other side didn't even know they were revealing. This isn't just about business. This is about every interaction you have. When you train yourself to default to listening instead of speaking, you start noticing things, patterns in how people communicate, inconsistencies in their stories, moments where they reveal more than they intended. That's intelligence gathering in real time. Meanwhile, the person who can't stop talking, they're hemorrhaging information, showing their cards, broadcasting their insecurities, making themselves vulnerable in ways they don't even comprehend. And someone in that conversation is taking notes. Think about your own experience. Who do you respect more? The person who tells you every thought that crosses their mind, or the person who speaks deliberately and only when they have something worth saying? The answer is obvious. Silence commands respect in a way that constant chatter never will. Here's where it gets really interesting. When you stop filling every silence with words, something shifts in your brain. You start processing differently, deeper. You move from reactive to strategic, from emotional to calculated. That shift alone is worth more than any communication course you could ever take. Guarding your information isn't paranoia. It's recognizing that in the attention economy, mystery has value, scarcity has power, and the person who reveals nothing while learning everything holds all the cards. Consider, what advantage have you lost by talking too much? Tell me in the comments. Hit like if this is rewiring how you think, and subscribe for more reality checks. What happens when you stop explaining yourself? Here's something nobody tells you. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your choices. Not your career moves, not your relationships, not your lifestyle, nothing. But we've been socially conditioned to believe that silence equals guilt, and that if we're not constantly justifying ourselves, we must be hiding something wrong. That conditioning is a trap, and it's keeping you weak. When you stop explaining yourself, something powerful happens. You reclaim your autonomy. You stop seeking validation from people who don't matter. You stop giving away the reasoning behind your decisions, which means people can't poke holes in your logic or plant seeds of doubt. The need to explain everything comes from insecurity. It's the voice in your head saying, if they understood my reasons, they'd approve. But here's the truth, bomb. Whether they approve or not is irrelevant. Their approval doesn't pay your bills. It doesn't advance your goals. It doesn't make you happier. It just makes you easier to control. There's research from the University of Texas showing that people who frequently justify their decisions to others show higher levels of decision regret and lower confidence in their choices. The correlation suggests that external validation seeking undermines internal conviction. Translation: the more you explain, the less certain you become. Watch how people respond when you just stop explaining. Some will respect the boundary, others will push harder, demanding justification. Those are the ones you need to watch out for. Because people who need to understand your every move aren't interested in understanding. They're interested in finding angles to manipulate. Strategic silence in personal matters isn't rudeness. It's sovereignty. It's saying, I made my decision based on information and priorities that are mine alone. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. The most liberated people I know have one thing in common. They've stopped performing their decision-making process for an audience. They choose, they act. They live with the results. No press releases, no explanations, no apologies for living according to their own compass. You want real freedom? Stop explaining. Start executing. Let your results speak, not your justifications. Think. What would change if you stopped explaining your choices for 1 week? Drop your thoughts below, leave a like, and subscribe. How to weaponize silence starting today. Time for the practical breakdown. How do you actually use silence as a tool instead of just a concept? First, move. Implement the 24-hour rule. Before you share any significant information about yourself, your plans, or your life, wait 24 hours. Most of the time, you'll realize you didn't need to share it at all. That urge to broadcast was just ego seeking validation, not strategy seeking results. Second, master the redirect. When someone asks invasive questions, don't answer. Ask why they want to know. Flip the script. Make them explain their curiosity. 9 times out of 10, they'll realize they had no good reason for asking, and they'll back off. The 1 time out of 10, you'll learn something valuable about their intentions. Third, create information tiers. Not everyone deserves the same level of access to your life. Your inner circle gets real information. Everyone else gets the curated version. This isn't being fake. It's being intelligent about who you trust with what data. Fourth, watch who fishes for information. There are people in your life right now who constantly ask questions but rarely answer them. They're not being rude. They're being smart. Study their technique. They've figured out how to extract maximum intelligence while revealing minimum vulnerability. Fifth, use silence as a filter for authenticity. Stop initiating contact with certain people and see who reaches out anyway. You'll quickly discover who actually values you versus who just values what you provide. The silence reveals the truth faster than any conversation ever could. Neuroscience research from Johns Hopkins indicates that periods of intentional silence enhance pattern recognition and strategic thinking by up to 40%. Your brain literally works better when you're not constantly in output mode. Silence isn't just protective, it's performance enhancing. Bottom line, In a world where everyone's screaming for attention, the person who says less but means more wins. Every single time, your silence is your fortress, your strategy, your edge. Use it ruthlessly. Execute. Which of these tactics are you implementing first? Comment below, smash that like if this changed your perspective, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Avviso importante, this content is for educational purposes regarding strategic communication and personal information security. It does not replace professional advice in cybersecurity or psychology. Strategic silence should be applied with balance and discernment, respecting contexts where open communication is necessary and healthy.